Hello, folks. Welcome to Rational Science. We have a great day today. We're going to be doing a little recap of what we did in the month of February. I'm going to start with the war that's going on over there in Ukraine, very hot on the news. And here are some of the headlines that you'll read out there, okay, the last couple days. Ukrainian pilots arrive in Poland to pick up donated fighter jets. And then Ukraine president asks for fast-track EU membership. Then we have the Mail Online, The Guardian. They both say that Belarus may be about to send its troops into Ukraine. Okay? And Fox News denies it, says Kiev's claim that Belarusian troops joined Russia's invasion of Ukraine and says it's false. And then the Washington Post mentions that the Ukrainians are asking for a no-fly zone over Ukraine, meaning they want the United States to get into the war. Okay, and as far as the pilots arriving in Poland and taking jets into Ukraine, that's also been denied by many outlets. Okay, so I guess there's a lot of hope on the part of Ukrainians to to have the United States enter the war, and the United States saying no, they're not entering the war. And someone here made a comment, said the following. He says, in December, Biden pledged military support to Ukraine if Russia invaded. Where is it? Did Biden promise military support so Zelensky would not yield on the Minsk agreement and allow the Donetsk and Luhansk to be independent republics? Then NATO and U.S. took all of their assets out of Ukraine in late January and early February, signaling Russia to invade. Well, I disagree with this gentleman. I don't think at any point United States said they would enter the war. If they would have wanted to enter the war, they would have started, a long time ago. They would have started putting troops in there and airplanes and so on. And none of that happened. In fact, I don't think there's any reason for the United States to enter the war because the United States already accomplished its objectives. The objective was not Ukraine. Ukraine has nothing to do with this conflict in a way, right? No, this conflict is about Germany and having Germany knuckled down under the United States. So I'll just give you my 5 cents worth. This is my take on this. Ukrainian war, US EU won't intervene militarily. They on the one hand, they don't want to start a World War III. But then there's the issue of, if you have U.S. enter the war, then the whole world will see it as a U.S. versus Russia war. And the United States is very comfortable with seeing this as a Russia against Ukraine war, mainly because, Ukrainians, they're Russians. They're all Russians. They have the same culture. They have the same religion. They use the same letters. They eat the same things, borscht. They drink the vodka. There's no difference between Russians and Ukrainians. You might think there is. Maybe the Ukrainians think they're different, but it's just another province of Russia. That's all Ukraine is. And it used to be part of the Soviet Union, meaning it was part of Russia. You could say governed from Moscow. And what happened? The Ukrainians broke loose, and now the Russians are trying to recover their territory, so to speak. And so the war in Ukraine is just Russians killing Russians. And so the Americans are eating popcorn on the sideline and just watching the show. They love it. And here they took over Germany without firing a single shot, losing a single man. And they've been trying to get Germany to come on board for a long time. First thing they did was kill their Nord Stream pipeline, which they were months trying to convince the Germans to stop it. And the Germans wouldn't do it. And finally, through this war, they finally achieved that. Then they stopped the SWIFT banking system. They're going to become the new energy providers of Germany and France and of Europe. So the United States is very happy with that. And it compelled Germany to spend more money on its defense, which it's been trying to do for many years now. And so, and on top of that, they're destroying the Russian economy. So the United States has already accomplished all its goals. Now it's just having fun watching how the Russians kill Russians, and they're giving some weapons to the Ukrainians. They're not giving them billions of dollars. They just gave them $300 million worth of equipment, and the Russians have billions of dollars in machinery going into Ukraine. I mean, you're not going to stop them with a few $1 million. Okay, so again, the United States has no reason to enter the war because it's already achieved its goals. Its goals were to conquer Germany and primarily and France second. It's already done that. Germany has lost its sovereignty now to the United States. It has to follow orders from Washington. It's going to rely on U.S. energy sources, pay for them a little higher. It's got to change its economics because, again, it can't use this SWIFT system to trade with the Russians. So there's been a lot of changes, but a lot of them here in Germany. And, a lot of people are not aware of that because that's not in the news, at least as much as the war and what's going on in Russia. So, yeah, this was bad for Russia and it was bad for Germany and probably, I would think, also for France. The United States is very happy with this. So, no, I don't think the United States is going to enter the war. It never intended to enter the war, and so I don't know where he got this thing that the United States promised. In fact, it promised the opposite. It said it wouldn't enter the war. It made it very clear, and I don't think it will go into the war. No need to. The war is doing just fine as it is right now, as far as the Americans are concerned. Okay, someone says Putin is the smartest world leader. Under the Minsk agreement, he has the right to demilitarize Ukraine. To do that, all he has to do is eliminate the government of Kiev without taking away other cities. If he wanted to crush Ukraine, he would have done so by now. Putin's government has said it has no plans on occupying Ukraine. Putin still has not taken any major city. Well, again, one of the issues there, I think, is you bomb the hell out of the cities. Well, there's not much to take after the war is over, So I guess they're trying to measure maybe how much they destroy. That could be one issue. I mean, I'm just speculating here, but that is something that you got to think about. But I'm worried about this. Putin is the smartest world leader. Well, he's a smart guy. He's been there in power 20 years. But this is smartness is not always helpful in politics. Okay, sometimes the circumstances of what's going on in a country overcomes any smart person out there that stands in the way. It happened to Gorbachev. He was overthrown, and he was a pretty smart cookie, I would say, and he was overthrown by his own military guys and ministers and so on. And this could happen to Putin. In fact, it's very likely. Do not be surprised if there's a coup in Russia, in Moscow. And I'm really, I've had some experience with this in the background. I can only give you my 5 cents worth. And that is that I can always put my hand in the fire that there are military and whispering in the background in Moscow. And they're probably not very happy with Putin. This guy's been in power for 20 years, and they might decide to remove him, and change course of events. Do not be surprised. I think there's always conspiracies going on, but especially in these circumstances where you have, a war on the one hand and a destroyed economy on the other, possibly a recession or a depression coming around over there, So I don't know. A lot of these generals will be looking at that, and they might decide to, take him out. Could be even an assassination for all we know. Okay, so please do not put it past them. It won't help him with all his intelligence if they overthrow him. Okay, so I'm sure that's in the works already. Now, if it materializes, that's a separate issue. But I'm convinced that there are people in high places that are murmuring, and maybe if they find a chance, an opportunity in there, they might take it and overthrow him or even kill him. I mean, so keep that in mind. Anyways, here we have another fellow says, the Americans never did the NATO punish they said they would do. Just sanctions. Russia is looking strong. They are really going in to make their Slavic bloc a thing. The USSR is coming back. Yeah, just kidding. Probably not. But a bigger Slavic powerhouse is indeed coming. Well, I don't know about that. I talked about that the other day a little bit. And here again, I can tell you that Russia has had its share of revolutions. Let me get it here on the other side again. Give me a second. OBS. Okay. And These are some of the revolutions the Russians had over the years, over the centuries. Okay, and you can see there's every now and then you get a revolution in Russia. You know, how many revolutions has the United States had? And so another revolution, maybe, especially when this situation resembles in many ways that of Nicholas II, you know, where things were so bad, especially economically, that they finally decided to remove him. They asked him to renounce his kingship, his tsarship, and it could happen to Putin. You know, it's don't put it past them. It could really happen. Okay, another. Just wondered if people were still hearing me. Sometimes they pull the plug on me. Okay, another fellow says China not becoming a world superpower is truly an unavoidable fact. In other words, he believes that China will become a superpower. And I think it is to some degree already from an economic point of view, no doubt about that. The question is whether the United States is going to allow China to surpass it, especially militarily. That's where I think that's where we approach the end of the world, because I think that's where you might have a World War III. And the other thing you have to think about is that, you know, China right now is trying to help Russia out, but these things happen in the past as well. There could be a betrayal there, you know, maybe for whatever interest China decides to backstab Russia. It's a possibility. May not happen now because maybe China needs Russia on its side if it's going to fight its war against the United States. But again, if the United States happens to put enough pressure on Russia and there's an overthrow of the government in Russia, which is what the United States is really hoping for as the final outcome of this war, one friendly to the West maybe, and then you have, you know, everybody's friends again, everybody's brothers again, we're all friends. And then the only enemy remaining is China. So China might not want Russia to collapse. But again, sometimes there are different interests out there, and betrayals are not unheard of. Okay, another fellow says, if Europe stops buying Russian gas, Russia will sell it to China. Yeah, I'm sure they arranged that before the war. Okay, Putin did go to China and he talked with Xi. You know, so yeah, it's very likely that that's already in the works. They're talking about making a pipeline also, but that's going to take some time. I'm not sure the people in Russia can wait that long, you know, starve that long. Okay, so, and Europe will buy the gas from the Middle East that China would have bought. Yeah, probably the United States is going to be the middleman there. The United States is going to make some brisk business selling energy to Europe. Once it settles there, should only be a small, medium price increase for the cost of transporting the gas by sea as LNG. Yeah, all I can tell you about that is that I think it's going to be a lot more expensive. I don't think it's going to be that cheap for Germany, especially Italy, you know, to buy gas from the Arabs when they had the pipeline there, just serving it directly to their houses. You know, I mean, it's a big difference there. There are plans to build pipelines across the Mediterranean from the Middle East to Europe. Yeah, I'm not sure we can all wait for the plans. We got to find out what's going to go happen to this war, right? Supposedly Russia wants to trade gas in euros rather than dollars, but after the Ukraine war, I think they'll change their mind. Yeah, they've created a new bank over there in Russia, new banking system that is going to replace this SWIFT deal. Okay, we'll see what happens with that. If that doesn't work, you know, maybe the collapse of the Russian economy. Okay, and here we have this fellow says the economy collapsing is equivalent to a heart stopping, as it's the end of circulation. Yes, the analogy is a human being dies when his heart stops. Well, maybe that's what the economy stopping does to the world. Okay, I think in that sense it's a good analogy. Would the cause of the stoppage or why we can't grow anymore be considered the reason we died? Famine, starvation, plague, war, market crash, low return on energy, material investment, etc. Okay, yeah, a human being is a good analogy. When his heart stops, so does the body. You know, the rest of the body, and the person collapses, dies. And you can say that I would say more than the heart. In the case of the global economy, it's more like the blood of a human being. You know, what we have is money. We have trade, and money and trade is what keeps the world running. And one of the problems I see now is that, you know, again, how do I propose the extinction is going to happen? Well, it's going to be food. It's It's going to be food, and it's going to be because trade stops. We won't accept currency anymore at some point. We lose confidence in money. Money disappears. Okay? Now, just take that as an assumption for a second. And first thing there, you need to understand that if there's no money, if there's no circulation of money, if nobody accepts money of any kind, gold, diamonds, Bitcoin, whatever, nobody accepts any kind of exchange, then we're all dead. And a lot of people have a lot of trouble understanding that. They think that we can run the world without trade, without money, without currency. And, I think they have a lot to learn. But the issue is that if money dies, which is what I call the economic collapse, when I talk about economic collapse, I'm not talking about depression or recessions or anything like that, any petty thing. I'm talking about total elimination of money. That's what I mean by collapse, okay? And so if we have an economic collapse, if nobody accepts money anymore, suddenly, you have all these corporations and they have no incentive to produce food, aside from the fact that they have nothing to pay their employees with, because remember, money is no more. So the employees won't accept money. Why would they work? If they don't work, who produces or distributes the food? That's the essence of the theory, okay? And so the question is whether all these measures that all these countries are taking now, especially, the fact that they're blocking, one country blocks the other, some commerce here today, another over there, they raise all these sanctions, they implement these sanctions. And so the question is that good for the global economy? And so this is where you got to look at whether, we're approaching a point of no return as far as the global economy, okay? I don't think we can continue, just threatening other countries to say, oh, we won't do commerce with you, because all we're doing is kind of making the world into these little pockets, and each one tries to solve their own problems locally. Instead of growing and becoming an international thing, it's going to be more like a local thing. We're stopping commerce, not increasing commerce, in other words. And that might work against all of us. Okay? Anyways, here's another take that I've got on the extinction of man. Okay, here's our population since at least the beginning of the Christian era. Okay, and that's more or less what the curve looks like. We're like 8 billion people now. Question is, what's going to happen after today? Okay. Are we going to continue growing? Are we going to level off? Are we going to go down to extinction? That's the question I'm asking. And here you see the three trends. These are the only three possible outcomes. Okay, we either continue growing, okay, population-wise, right? We can more or less run around back and forth around a constant number, maybe 8 or 9 billion people, whatever. Or we can go down to extinction, and which will happen. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is I don't think we're going to live a million more years. And I think anyone who thinks that humans are going to be around in a million more years here on Earth is crazy. He doesn't have the slightest clue. Okay? I don't even think we're going to live another 1,000 years. Okay? So I'm going to proceed with that. Okay? I'm going to proceed with the idea, the notion that humans are going to become extinct anytime from here to before the year 3000. We're in the year 2000, 2022, right? We're not going to make it to 3022. That's what I'm going to put my bet on. Okay? And again, that's going to be an assumption here. And the question is, let's assume that assumption is correct. Will it be very, very soon? Or will it be closer to 3000, to the year 3000? Will it be the year 2800, maybe 2500? When do you think it's going to happen? And for those of you who believe that that it will happen sometime, maybe in the future, maybe not in your lifetime, well, you got only one question to answer, and that is, what is going to cause it? What is the mechanism that's going to kill man that man cannot avoid? We can avoid nuclear weapons, we just don't throw them. Very simple. We can avoid asteroids, probably. We can nuke them before they reach the Earth. We spot them, nuke them, get rid of them. There are things we can do about catastrophes. I don't think a volcano is going to kill us. I don't think there's going to be plumes coming out of the bottom of the ocean, methane or whatever, and poisoning the atmosphere. So what is the mechanism that's going to kill man, assuming you agree that man is not going to live forever, and you may even agree that we won't make it to the year 3000? What's going to kill us? What's the mechanism? Give me a mechanism.